Hello, and welcome to today's episode. I'm going to be your host, the Irrelevant Nerd, and today I'm going to be reviewing Invincible Season 4, Episodes 1 through 4. Okay, we're officially halfway through the season already, and I am so excited to be talking about this show again. It is one of my favorite shows currently on right now. If it maintains this quality, it's going to end up being one of my favorite shows of all time, maybe just the favorite in general, but we'll see. Before I get into the review of this season, I'm just going to give a spoiler warning right now. I'm not going to be going directly into a ton of things. I'll probably only reference a few things here and there, but if you haven't watched it yet, like, what are you doing? Go watch it immediately and then come back and join the discussion here. So spoiler warning from here on out. All right, so getting right into it. Season 4 wastes absolutely no time just picking up and going. We open with a montage of Mark and I guess Oliver and Eve are in there, but it's mostly Mark trying his best to help defeat as many villains as possible and just kind of help the world recover from the Invincible War. And you can kind of see how people are reacting to him in the crowd, but you can just tell from this opening scene and the tone that it sets, you can just see how much Mark is still grappling with what happened during, the end of season 2, all of season 3, and especially in that fight against Conquest at the end of season 3, where Mark thinks that he has killed him. And during the season, you can see that Mark is having trouble, because at the end of season 3, he said he's going to have no hesitation to kill anybody who presents danger to his family, basically. And this whole season is he struggles with, do I kill or do I not kill? And I mean, that has been a struggle for the past couple of seasons of the show, but I think the first half of this season does a really good job of showing how much that internal struggle is really starting to wear Mark down. He's obviously very depressed, and we get several instances of him zoning out and ignoring like Eve, Oliver, his mom, just the people he loves the most. And I genuinely feel sorry for him. Like in some of the older seasons, 2 and 3, there were times where I thought Mark could be a bit whiny and kind of a creator of his own problems, but I think they really kind of nail that in this season. And it's not just Mark's arc. I think a lot of characters are done really well this season so far. Nolan being another standout. His journey and getting to learn more about Viltrum and his past has been one of my favorite aspects of the season so far, and some of my favorite scenes of the entire series so far. Really, like the Viltrumite culture is brutal, and I loved getting to see Nolan's past, in particular on the day that he becomes an adult and he fights his parents, and you just see another instance of how they are raised to be warriors, like the best fighters in the galaxy. And we get to see the Scourge virus hit, and the Scourge virus part of the show is crazy because it starts out slowly and ramps up and starts to wipe out a very massive part of the Viltrumite population. And to me, that really shows how singularly driven the Viltrumites are. Like, they literally lose like 99.99% of their population. They state it as billions upon billions are killed. Like, there are enough dead bodies that they are able to make like a Saturn-like ring of bodies around Viltrumite with their fallen. And despite, like, again, losing 99% of their population, they are still trying to conquer the galaxy. But like, seeing this combined with how Nolan talks about the society, you really see that even though they are evil and brutal in like the show, Viltrumites aren't necessarily acting maliciously. They a good chunk of them do actually think they are doing the right thing and helping the galaxy by spreading their empire as, out as far as possible. And it's just like they think they're helping. It's just filtered through the lens of the brutal Viltrumite culture. And so I think it helps us understand Nolan's character a bit better and why he is the way he is and why he said the things about Mark and Debbie that he did in the first season. And I just love when we get characters expanded upon like that and you can understand where they're coming from and their motivations even better. And beyond the incredible character work of the season, I've been very satisfied with how much of the story is moving forward. In just the first half of the season, we have the Stekwid storyline being closed out. We have Mark's internal struggles. We have Eve's struggles with her powers. We have the obvious moving forward of Mark and Eve's relationship with the revelation that Eve is pregnant. Robot and Monster Girl get trapped in the Thraxan dimension because they're trying to defeat the enemy at their source, so they stop coming back. And I thought that was kind of another fun callback from season 1. But Debbie and Paul's relationship is moving forward, and they're considering buying a house together. You have Machine Head manipulating Titan and Mr. Liu to get back into the Order. Conquest escapes and gets back to the Viltrumites, and Nolan and Alan are progressing the Viltrumite War storyline forward, and they're just doing such a good job of making the universe feel lived in and moving it all forward in meaningful and satisfying ways. It doesn't feel rushed or overcrowded at all. It just feels like it all just blends together so well, and they also just do a really good job of balancing all the characters and screen time. Mark is for sure the main character. He is invincible, but it really feels like the show evolves around him more than it revolves around him, if that makes any sense. And I think the pacing of the first half of the season is a little bit slower than the pacing we got in season 3, but it feels more intentional in the pacing. So for me, that's a fair trade-off. And the animation feels just as sharp as ever and very consistent across the first half of the season so far. Also felt very similar about season 3, and I do think that some of the animation issues in season 2 were just overblown and weren't as bad as some people were saying they were. But I think for the people that kind of care more about the animation quality, I think they're going to be very impressed from what we've seen in the first half of this season so far. The soundtrack still slaps and it is probably the most underrated aspect of the whole show. I don't feel like I hear a lot of people talking about it, but they just have so many songs that set the vibe of certain scenes and montages perfectly. They do. The soundtrack in the show, it's one of the best soundtracked shows I've ever heard. I think the voice acting is still top notch, but this is kind of a good place to transition into my issues with the season. And really, there were only 2 things in this season that have bothered me so far. First, while the voice acting is still strong across the board, some of the voice actor changes are quite distracting. William sounds like a completely different character, and I did not vibe with this new actor for him at all. And I do miss Zachary Quinto as Robot. I think his voice and delivery were perfect for the character, and I do think that having the voice actor who voices Rudy, or I guess Rex now, and voice Robot makes sense, but there is just something about Zachary Quinto's delivery that I thought fit the Robot character better. The other issue I have with the season, and this one is actually a big issue because the voice actor one's not huge, it's just some things I noticed, but the biggest issue with this season is just episode 4 in general, it is easily the worst episode of the show. It feels completely pointless and gives off like side quest vibes the entire episode. But with all that being said, I don't think the episode is actually like bad per se. Some people are saying that it's trash, and I don't think it's that. I think it's an average episode. It's a 7 out of 10 type of episode, and it just feels very boring and irrelevant with everything else going on. But I think when you're the worst of a really good show, you're still looking at actually like a pretty solid episode. And I do enjoy spending the time with the world, and so I did enjoy watching the episode. You can notice that it is the worst episode of the season and probably of the show so far, because it just feels inconsequential and boring. But overall, I do think, even with the stumble at episode 4, the first half of the season is off to a very, very strong start, and I'm very excited for potentially seeing how the Viltrumite War escalates in the second half of the season. I really think they've set up a lot of cool stuff, but I would say that the first half of this season is a very solid 9.4, leading to a 9.5, and if it wasn't for how boring episode 4 comes across, I'd probably have this up at like a 9.8 or a 9.9 out of 10. It really is that good. And if you're not watching it, do yourself a favor and watch this season. If you're one of those people who haven't seen the show at all, cannot recommend all of Invincible enough. But if you're one of the people who binged through all of season 1 when it came out and then just kind of lost the momentum with season 2 with the delay in release and then the break in the middle of the season that was like a month and a half, 2 months longer or something like that, that just entirely killed the momentum, and you just lost interest in the show, I'm telling you, come back. Season 3 and season 4 so far are fantastic, and I absolutely love this show. I want it to succeed, and I think they're looking at maybe a solid 6 to 8 seasons out of the show. I hope they don't keep it going longer than it needs, but I think that we're really just kind of scratching the surface of how big this show can be. It's so good, and I am so excited for the second half of the season, and I'll probably be doing reviews of the episodes individually going forward, just because I love the show so much. It is really that good. Of course, as always, these are just my thoughts. This show really does fit what I like in my entertainment, and I would love to know what you think about it. Am I overhyping it? Am I underselling it? And what did you think of episode 4? Did you think it was actually terrible, or do you just think it's an average episode, and compared to the rest of the amazing show, it just seems so terrible in comparison? I'd love to see it down below, and let me know what you're looking forward to most in the second half of this season as well. I'm working on some more videos that I will have out for you very soon, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one.